Good morning, everybody. This is Jared Klassen with Upscale Detail Co. Today, I'm interviewing Joe and DJ with AVR. Joe and DJ, I knew them in my military days, and I just wanted to bring them on the podcast because they have a pretty awesome background. And that'll kind of lead into our first question, which is, what did you guys do in the military with your last job, and why did you guys transition into entrepreneurship?
Okay, so for myself, I had served 21 and a half years in the Army. I had finished up my last assignment as a company first sergeant here on Fort Moore. And really what I wanted to do was, I was kind of in a place during the transition process figuring out what I wanted to do. So the Army has a process that you go take some classes and some courses to kind of help you figure out what you want to do. And as I was going to set mine up, I had bumped into a DJ who we had worked previously together as recruiters. And one thing led to another. We started, figuring out and talking about what life was going to look like after the Army.
Yep, I did 20 plus years in the Army, airborne infantry.
Hell yeah, brother.
Yeah, that's where I met Jared, who was a company commander over at Airborne School when I was an instructor over there. Like Joe said, I ran into him at doing the SFL TAP classes, and we were just kind of talking and figuring out what we wanted to do, and then it just kind of led to us making our own company of just doing handyman stuff, really.
So I think one of the biggest things, with veterans that are transitioning out of the military, trying to figure out what it is that they want to do, finding a purpose.
Yep.
One thing that I realized was I wanted to try something different outside of what you see a lot of veterans do, and that's go into the contracting business or going into government services positions. So I wanted to try something different. And talking to DJ over the course of a few weeks and months, one of the things that I realized that I was going to miss from the military, from the Army, was working around like-minded people and the friendships that you make during your time in service. And so started with saying, well, maybe I'll do something handy. I've been kind of handy. I've been remodeling my home for the last couple of years, and then he was telling me about his time during COVID.
Yeah, so during COVID, I had started just doing side hustles with Angie's List, putting in ceiling fans, garbage disposals, a little bit of everything. So I just told Joe, I was like, man, there's a huge market out there for this. And I had started asking some of the customers, how much you paid for this service? And I was getting like a quarter of that. And so at the time, I was like, Joe, there's really a big market out here that, we could make a decent amount of money just starting a business, doing the same thing that Angie's List does, but just doing it in our own town and around Phoenix City and Columbus area. And here we are.
Yeah.
So one thing I really liked about what you said is you're trying to find a purpose outside of the military, and I was kind of in the same spot. And the one thing that I would like to say about entrepreneurship is you meet very highly motivated people. Mm-hmm. And absolutely, being around those people on a daily basis is very uplifting. And it's kind of like in the military, being around those high performers all the time. And we were around high performers at airborne school, to a certain extent.
Yeah.
But it's good to be around those people, especially in business. And going into the next question, what do you guys really focus on, and where did you guys get the name AVR? Like, what pushed that?
Well, I would say as we started to really talk about this idea of going into business and creating this thing. It goes back to our time in the military and Army is what are some things that you miss? You miss the people, right?
Culture.
The culture. So we wanted to provide an outlet for veterans that are looking for something to do with a common goal in mind that we're used to in the Army is completing the tasks or completing the mission per se. And that coupled with wanting to provide a service to the area, we try to focus on quality workmanship, and communicating with the customer. As you start peeling the layers back of a job site, you may come across things, whereas other folks may not say nothing, may try to hide it. Well, we want to over communicate with the customer to say, hey, here's what we found. We can do X, Y, and Z. What do you want to do? So that kind of like, with that mentality and that idea, that's where we came up with, all veteran renovators is like, we want to fix and renovate things, and we're a group of veterans, so as cheesy as it may sound, we're continuing to serve our country, one home at a time, or one job site at a time.
No, it totally makes sense, man. And I think that is what puts you at a competitive advantage among other contractors, is that you're going to communicate and you're going to do the job right. And that's what people want.
Yeah.
And we see it in our industry. People rush the process, or they say that things that they're not going to do, and then we get customers in here that are upset. And all customers want at the end of the day is honesty. At the end of the day, and they want communication.
Yeah.
And if you can offer to that, you're going to be above every single person that's in your industry, 100%. So going into kind of our next question, where do you guys see yourself in 3 to 5 years from now? What is the vision for the company, in 5 years?
So me and Joe have talked about kind of essentially starting local, kind of forming a career skills program within the company, which in the military is when you're retiring or getting out of the military. The career skills program is a program that you can go and you can do in an internship, or you can learn how to drive trucks, or you can go take an HVAC class, and they'll you get certified on that. But me and Joe have talked about kind of making that a CSP program within our company for local veterans on Fort Morris. We're going to start here, and then kind of branch out to the other surrounding posts and do the same thing. And then after that would be taking our business plan and SOPs that we are still refining, and just kind of making it into like a franchise, so then that way when the veteran gets out of the military or retires or whatever, and then they move back home to their town, they can have the recipe for success, so then they can start an AVR branch, if you'd say, in their hometown, and then we can just kind of branch it out all over the Southeast, the United States, and then it's all just veterans helping veterans, because a lot of times you don't miss the circus, you miss the clowns when you get out of the military. And so then that way the other veterans can go to their hometown where they're living and get with the VFWs, the American Legion, and then they can just form their own
network
of veterans that just bond together, because they all have frozen the rain when they're out in the in a training exercise, or jumped out of airplanes together, because they all have something in common. So that way they can then go out, and then they have that network and that what's the word I'm looking for?
Interoperability.
Big word, interoperability within the veteran community, and then it just goes from there, and it just keeps growing.
So like the idea is, if a veteran goes back home or they go to somewhere that they've never been before, right? Because I don't know the statistics on it, but what we have seen in our time is when folks are retiring, they tend to stay in that area where they're retiring out of for a few years until they decide to make a forever jump for whatever reasons they have going on. Or those who are not retiring, they tend to go straight back home. So if we can provide them means to stay connected to other veterans, until they figure out what it is they want to do.
Yeah. I think your guys' biggest challenge with that is going to be first, getting the trademark, and then secondly, the SOPs and the training. We kind of have the same idea of what you guys are saying. You brought something into my head that's smart with the veterans side of things, something I'm probably going to think about. But the biggest thing is the training, and you want to bring your first 3 people that you bring into your franchise are going to be the most important. They need to be the most close to you, and they need to be business mindseted. They don't need to be operators. They need to be businessmen, because there's a difference. Are you working the business, or are you growing the business? That's going to be the key to that successful, and the training. So we have an idea of, once we get everything in place, the trademark, done and all that, we're going to create a training team. So when we open up a hub, we go down and train for a month and a half on everything. Get them established in marketing and all the processes of everything that entails to run this industry. Because what I see in this industry is people. They suck. They really suck. And the reason why is because they're not certified and they're not trained.
Or they don't care. So
and they're in it for the money.
So another mentality aspect is want versus need.
Yep.
So one thing that we've talked about and thought about is, for veterans, for us, this is something that we want to do.
Yep.
Being retired, or it's not something that we have to do. So that changes my perspective. That changes a huge outlook on like a customer service base. My experiences with contractors in the area are trying to get stuff done at my home. They won't answer the phone, or they won't call me back, or they'll never show up, or it's like, okay, when can I get on your schedule so you can knock out X, Y, and Z service at my home?
And what is the
crickets?
What is the most important thing in your business? Answering your damn phone.
Yeah.
Like, if you can't do the simple shit, don't even I am so anal about that. Because that is the first impression of your business. Like, if you can't answer the phone, I understand if you're on a job, but have a system in place where it says, hey, we're currently on a job. Give us a couple hours to get back with you.
Yeah.
That's communication, right?
Yeah.
So going into our next question, and I already know this because in your group, what has helped your business expand and why?
So I'll take a little bit and then I'll let you go off. So our workload for just 2 people, has picked up to the point where we have brought in a few other veterans to help us out.
Good.
Right. So I think our work has spoken for itself with some customers, and we have several repeat customers. So that helps us continue our business.
Good attrition rate then.
And lets us focus on closing other jobs, meeting with new customers while the work continues. So like at the bottom line, like to me, that's what's helped our business expand is we've continued work, customers come back, we have some help, right? But what DJ has done
Beautiful.
has really helped us.
He's the mastermind.
Well, I guess. So I got invited last March to a B&I meeting, which stands for Business Network International.
Vice president?
Yeah, I'm the vice president of our chapter. Thanks, Jared. But anyway, I got invited, and at first I was like, "This has got to be some kind of like pyramid scheme. Like I don't know, I don't know what's going on here." And I went to the meeting, and they were like, "No, it literally is just a group of local businesses that just pass referrals around each other." And I was like, "There's got to be some kind of catch." And they were like, "No, the only catch is you just pay your yearly fee, and you have the only spot in the entire chapter for the leads." So essentially, us being handyman, so I joined to talk to Joe about it, and we were like, "Yeah, man, it might be a good thing that because there was at the time like 31 members in the group, and it ended up that we were the only handyman in the group, but there was also a realtor, there's life insurance, there's lawn care, you name it. Ryan, Jared's COO is in there with us. And it literally just exploded from there because I tell everybody in our BNI group, anytime we get a visitor in, I say, listen, we don't do any outside marketing. Yeah. Zero. The only thing we do is I go to a BNI meeting every Tuesday, and everybody in that room just keeps flowing me referrals. I call the people, we get business, and we're just keep closing deals. I mean, it's really that easy. So, just doing that has definitely skyrocketed our overall sales and workmanship, and a lot of those in there, they're all repeat customers, especially Francesca, our realtor. I think she's going to be on the podcast soon. She's been giving us a lot of repeat business because she's got to sell houses and she's in the realtor business, so she knows other realtors and she just refers us out, and it just
probably like at least 1 to 2 jobs a month.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
If not more, yeah.
So the key thing that I see there, and it's other businesses helping other businesses, and this is the idea of why I created this podcast, because you see a lot of businesses hurting right now with the economy, and if we can help each other in this time and share each other's customers, that's what really matters. Because reality is we're in a recession right now, and just imagine this: if your business is doing good in a recession, imagine what it's going to be like when the economy gets good. You're going to freaking blow it out of the water.
Yeah.
And something I heard from Andy Frisella the other day ago, he said, it's about to get rough, but those owners that remain calm, cool, and collective and continue doing the same thing every single day are going to be the ones that win.
Yeah. It's it can be daunting at times, but I think, being able to just communicate and focus on the things that matter has been able to help us,
Exactly.
navigate these waters of closing the chapter of the Army and starting this new chapter of AVR.
Yep.
One of the biggest focuses, I think, though, that has helped is the Army has taken a lot of time away from us and family. So making sure we're strict with time and giving back time to our family and not letting this consume us.
No, I totally agree, and that's the one thing I want to commend my business with, and the people that are in my business. They have helped me have way more time with my kids.
Yeah.
Dude, I've spent more time with my daughter and my son than I have since they were born.
Yeah.
I'm really grateful for that, man. And that's because you control your own schedule as an entrepreneur. You do.
The ability to say no or not right now is extremely powerful.
It is. It's very powerful. And I've never had that opportunity in my life, and it feels good.
Yeah.
And that goes into my next question. What is your guys' favorite thing to work on, and why? I definitely know it's not floors.
Well, okay, so I would say learning something new is awesome. You can learn something new every day as long as you're willing to learn something new. So what has been awesome, I guess, not necessarily to work on, would be with the veterans that we have and DJ, like, I've learned something new almost every job site.
That's
and
awesome.
then, like, we have one guy on our team who is learning everything. Like, says that he doesn't know how to do a whole lot, but is willing to learn, and that's huge.
That's awesome.
You know, so
Trainability.
yeah, man, like that's massive. So I would say teaching and learning is probably my favorite thing to do.
It's mine too. That's the thing that I love most about entrepreneurship is you can bring somebody into your business that has nothing, and then you can transform them, if they're willing,
Yeah.
into a superpower.
Yeah, like, look what I did with these hands. I just did this.
Exactly.
Awesome.
What about you, DJ?
I mean, I don't have anything that I love doing versus don't love doing. Jared mentioned the floors. The reason he said that is because he originally asked me to help show him how to do the floors in his own house. And I went over there for one day and I was like, all right, cool, you got it? And he was like, yeah. And then next thing I know, the next weekend, he's like, hey, when are you going to come back and help me finish the floor? And so I'm like, okay, are you hiring me or like, what are we doing? And I thought I was just showing you and you were going to do the rest. But it ended up, we got the whole house done. It looks great.
Yeah, I
but-
can't. I thank
Well,
you
you
more
know
for that.
But what's awesome though is like that simple idea. You know, we've had a few customers, you know, help us with things like, hey, if you want to learn, I think that's just the NCO army of me, like willing to teach someone, like, oh, we can help you out on the price. If you want to put in some
sweat equity.
Sweat equity, yep.
you know, this could be a little bit cheaper for you. And guess what? You're gonna learn. And guess what?
That's awesome.
Maybe you can do it on your own.
Yeah,
So
that's really
that's
cool.
huge.
I think I'm like Joe. I like teaching guys that, you know, because most people, they don't hang drywall. I mean,
That's a tough skill, man.
I mean, it's a tough skill, but like, I mean, we get a couple guys that are like, yeah, I can. I mean, anybody can put board on the wall and put a screw in it. Like, okay, can you mud the joint?
Exactly.
Can you tape it? Can you float it where it looks like there's not waves going down your wall?
Yep.
But when you teach somebody how to do that, then they're like, man, I can do this. You're like,
Value in themselves.
It's an art, bro. And then they build that confidence in themselves, and you're like,
and now we don't. And now me and Joe don't have to do everything on every job site.
Exactly.
We can be like, hey, go take care of it because you know how to. You know how to
yeah,
hang
I got to work on the back end of the stuff.
It's just like you said. I mean, you're making force multipliers within the company,
It's
and they're
awesome.
helping you out too. So
You can just pause it if you need to. Are you creating multiple cutouts? Airborne. Okay, one last question. What is the one thing that you guys could give our followers, the people that are on live, of value if they're wanting to start their own business?
I would say for those who are wanting to start a business, It's okay to be nervous because it's going to be something potentially new. But if you are willing to learn, reach out to folks that you know or that people that they may know that have started a business, and just ask questions.
Yeah.
That's step one. For those that are wanting to start a business, it's not impossible. One of my favorite sayings is, you don't know what you don't know.
It's true.
So
You say
step
that all the
one,
time.
you just gotta ask
Have
questions.
humility to ask.
Yeah, and it's okay to ask questions. I ask a bunch of questions.
Me too, man. I always ask questions.
So that's what I would say. For those wanting to start a business, that's what I would say is get out there, talk to some people who own a business, and figure it out.
I think what Jared said about entrepreneurs being highly motivated individuals is the key. Because if you ask them a question about, hey man, how did you start your business? Like, they'll talk about it.
They will.
They're not going to be like, oh yeah, go figure it out, go read some books. They're not. Because, I mean, you know, but if you talk to a business owner or somebody that you know might be a business owner, like, hey man, how did you start it? Like this, like I said, they'll tell you, and they'll give you, you know, hey, you got to go get a business license, and you got to go do this, and because like nobody tells you all that stuff in the beginning.
Dude, the admin
You have
part
to figure that
is the
stuff
hardest.
out. Yeah.
Hardest stuff, man.
How do I get a business license? How many do I need? Do I need one for the state, the county, the United, like the
Do
whole
I need
country?
do I need
Do
an
I need one?
LLC
How
or
many-
do I need an
yeah.
S corporation?
Yeah, which one
Which
do I
one's
need?
is better for tax benefits?
Yeah.
And that's why you get an accountant.
But it's knowing who to have on your team. So again, starting a business can seem like a lot, and it can be, but you just gotta talk to people
Yep.
who are business owners, you know, and then branch out.
And one thing I would like to talk to our followers on, if you guys are fixing to transition out of the military and you want to become a part of a veteran group, we do have a veteran group.
Yeah.
What is it called again?
Columbus Veteran Business Owners.
CVO.
Columbus
CVBO.
CVBO. We started it like a year and a half ago, and
There's a
yeah,
Facebook page for it.
there's a Facebook page for it, but we have seen some cool stuff there. I mean, we've
Yeah.
been able to help all of each other out, and that's what the key thing about, like, you know, business is about, helping other entrepreneurs. And that's kind of what we've secluded that to veterans only.
Yeah.
But it's helped me out.
Having a resource that you can call, talk to on the phone, or talk to in person, for me is extremely valuable.
Yep.
Like, the Army has a lot of resources out there to help, which is good, but hopefully they call you back. Hopefully they email you back. Or you can find them at the right time to get your questions answered. So
Yeah.
nothing's perfect. Everything's always a work in progress. But having that resource of, again, like-minded individuals who understand a certain way of thinking or working and having work ethic, like, ask questions and get those answers.
Do we have any questions from the audience? Okay. For our audience, I am hiring right now. If you're a highly motivated person and you want to get into the automotive industry, you need to send a resume to me. You have to pass a background check and also a drug test. That is to get into the door to even be interviewed. So, but we are looking for a highly motivated person. You don't have to have any skills whatsoever. You can be trained from the ground up. So if you guys are interested, email us at upscaledetailingco.com. And then also, if you wanted to be on this podcast, give us a call at 706-705-7335. And then DJ and Joe, how can they get a hold of you guys if they need some renovations?
Best place to get a hold of us is on our Facebook page, at All Veteran Renovators. You can also reach out to us online at allveteranrenovators.com. Fill out an inquiry form, and then we'll receive an email, and we'll be able to get a hold of you all to figure out how we can provide you.
Well, once again, we appreciate you guys coming on the show, and thank you guys for coming on. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
All right, have a good one.
Thanks.